What is good, everybody? Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here with a Crusadia test hand video. So I figured I'd showcase you guys some test hands from the list I took to the CLS. And yeah, not much more can be said. And just remember, guys, if you guys want to get access to videos like this sooner, think about hitting that join button down below, become a member, help the cause, get instant access to perks and rewards, get discounts on the Team COG store, all that fine jazz. So without further ado, guys, I guess before we even... One more thing to do is this beautiful field center here is called Queen of the Forest. We will have these for sale hopefully within the next month. I got a few more projects I'm trying to pump out to you guys, so hopefully keep your eyes out for them. And then eventually this will be brought to you guys. The artwork is done by Midnight Dreams, the person who did my beautiful mat. And the field centers are being made by Akami TCG, so highly recommend checking out his channel, which I will have linked in the description below. So without further ado, guys, now let's jump into this test hand. So I'm already predicting that we'll see the rock in the first test hand, you know, not the rock, crawler, excuse me. And we're going to play through a few, like, assuming that they have some hand traps as well. We'll talk about what different routes you can go, what to assume, never to just kind of just like balls to the wall at right in, always just kind of play cautiously. And yes, so one more good shuffle. There we go. A quick cut. And we'll see our top 5 cards, which are going to be our boy Maximus, Draco, you love to see him, Crown, Red Eyes Darkness Metal, and Tracer. So this hand is not too bad. It sucks. So like Tracer is a brick in our hand, but Red Eyes Darkness Metal, he's not as bad as a brick. He is a brick, but he's like a playable brick, a pseudo brick in a way. So like we can make do with this. But let's see what we can do. To start out with, guys, most of you know we're gonna go ahead and normal summon the Maximus because like yeah. Why not? I'll go ahead and link off into our Magius. We're going to go ahead and then special summon out the Crown. Now, this is where you kind of lose. Go ahead and tell you guys if you guys want to fast forward it, go ahead. Mute me, whatever. This is going to be more in-depth than some other test hand videos. So right here, if you choose to do this route here, if you special summon this and they have any sort of hand trap that like removes the Magius, you're kind of SOL. We're not going to do anything. However, that's where like arguably summoning this right here, making this chain 2, chain 1 would do well, but we lose access to LP in that direction, considering we hard opened the Metal Dragon and the Tracer, but we actually have the ability to utilize these cards in that aspect. Because if we do this right here, when you're chain 2, Magius be chain 1, the question you guys are going to see is going to be, how are we going to get a dragon out now that we've used Draco? Well, you go ahead and banish the Draco, to go ahead and summon out the Red Eyes Darkness Metal, use Metal's effect to go ahead and summon out the Tracer. And then you link these guys off here into your Spatha, the Queen of the Air here. And then you just go ahead and link this off into your LP, right? But see, here is the issue that we have, and that is we need to put a kind of like a 4th body, and since Red Eyes Darkness Metal is a hard once per turn now, we can no longer like reuse the effect again, you know what I'm saying? So this right here is where we go here, and we just kind of summon from the deck a card, but we're still not getting anywhere unless you're playing other dragons, which of course you can be, but I am not. So then if we backtrack here and go back to the Magius, this is in your hand, this is here, the Draco's here, excuse me, and this is there. The best thing to probably do is to special this here, trigger the effect here to get yourself the Arborea. Then you just link these two off. I mean, if they have it, they have it. That's where Arborea becomes one of the best normal summons in the deck, because if they happen to have any sort of answer for the Magius, you can they can negate the effect all they want, because sometimes you have enough Dragon Extenders or a Dragon Extender in your hand that you can play through the Magius getting negated. But it's when they destroy the Magius and remove the Link Zone pointer that we really desperately need. But now, we're going to go ahead and make Spatha. Then we'll summon out the Draco. Draco will grab us back the Maximus, the King here. Now we just do what we were just about ready to do. We link it off here into LP, Spatha's effect to move. And then see, now we can use LP's effect to summon out another Draco. This is very important as well, because we want to remove like drawn Crusadia names that we already have drawn, essentially, which is Draco. So then, depending on what you want to, you can banish this, right? To summon here. And then use this effect to summon here. So then 1, 2, 3, 4, you can do that route, or you can actually just keep the LP here and just banish the Draco to summon the Darkness Metal. Use Darkness Metal to summon out the Draco from the graveyard. That way you can put this card back off the Skuldred. You'll then go ahead and link for a 4 here, which is a 4 material Skuldred. which will get us a draw 4, put back 3. So we'll go ahead and draw 3 cards, or excuse me, draw 4, draw 1, draw 2, draw 3, draw 4. And this is not exactly optimal by any means. We actually have an issue that we can make work, but it's not going to be the best. So we drew into 2 waterfronts. This is where waterfront, in my opinion, is one of the powerful, like it has the highest power ceiling, but also the lowest, like it's pretty inconsistent. And the fact that, yes, we're seeing waterfront, but we drew 2 dead cards on our Skull Dread because of them playing multiple waterfronts to see waterfront. So we can actually do this right here. And let's see here. Why don't we go ahead and keep power and put back the Tracer. And what we're going to try and do here is scavenge out a Skull Dread. Now, not going to lie, guys, at the CLS, my draws weren't even that good. My draws were just awful. I would draw, excuse me, like another Draco, 2 Dracos, and then like it'd be another Crusadia that already special summoned and like multiples. It was just bad. But we're going to make this work, okay? We're going to go and activate Waterfront. We're going to go and special summon Arborea here to get 1 counter. We will then special summon, we'll then just link off the Arborea because we gotta get counters, right? And I messed up. So we're gonna go ahead and link off the Arborea. That'll give us 1 counter. We'll go ahead and special summon the Magius here. And then we will turn the Magius and the Maximus here into a link 2, which is gonna go ahead and become the Regulex. We are already at 3. We'll then use that to, we'll use the Coyote Waterfront. We don't have to remove counters, but we just activate the effect, and since we have 3 counters, to grab us Gameciel. We'll then use the Skull Dreads effect to special summon the said Gameciel, which will be right here. And then we turn Regulex and Skull Dread into your boy Equimax right here, which will give us 5 counters. And we have a Crusadia power. Now, what happens in this scenario, since we don't have a Crawler, we can't make the Equimax live, but since we do have power, we're still going to be able to fire off the power. When we get down to like 1 counter, we can fire off power, make an Equimax immune, giving us 2 counters, and then we have the ability to negate again. Now, again, another thing that you guys should probably always remember is that we have here in the graveyard, we have an Arborea, so Arborea is going to be able to banish herself to protect the Equimax from anything that destroys we can protect. And that's assuming we don't have to use the power to make him unaffected by everything. And then, of course, Gameciel is loaded for 2 for sure negates. And then as soon as they decide to do anything, you can fire off the power, giving yourself an additional negate throughout your cycle of negates. And then the follow-up turn, let's just go ahead and shuffle and give a quick cut and a draw, and we'll see what we draw into. So we'll go ahead and, there we go, draw. We're drawing Call by the Grave, which is not the best, but again, it's another card that you can fire off immediately to get a counter on Waterfront. Now, what we're doing is just Equimax beat down. Sadly, that's what we gotta do. We gotta use Equimax, who is gonna be 42, to continually beat down our opponent. And just always remember, guys, like your opponent's going to eventually be feeding your Waterfront counters as well. So just do keep that in mind. But okay, yeah, so that's the first test hand. We'll go ahead and jump into the next test hand, and this time we'll play as if they have like a hand trap to stop us. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and do a quick cut. There we go. And draw our first 5 cards, which is going to be a Crusadia Power, a Quick Launch, a Coyote Waterfront, a Arborea, and a, let's see what it is, Crusadia Crawler, Paralytic Seed. So this is a very good hand. So we already said the opponent's going to have a form of hand trap to stop us. I would almost argue and say it's going to be Drytron because of how popular and affordable that deck is. So let's just assume that they have, I don't know, what do you guys want to say? A Herald. Herald is the only trap they play, but let's just assume they have a Herald. Now, we're going to go ahead and activate Waterfront here. Excuse me, we'll just activate it up here. And then we're going to normal summon here. We'll then link off the Arborea into the Magius, triggering out the Paralytic Seed. Now, this right here practically forces the opponent to Herald of the Orange Light us, and if they happen to have that, it's okay because we have Quick Launch. So we're going to be able to play through a Herald, but we also got to take note that the Herald will more than likely grab another Herald and another live Herald from the deck. So we got to play very cautiously there. For the most part, if they have Ash Blossom, I mean, they're forced to respond here because they can't stop the summon of Paralytic Seed, but when Paralytic Seed summons, chain 2, chain 1, they have to hit this here. Now, like I said, we are very protected in this sense because we open Crusadia Power. So in another way that we could play this is we could just kind of fire off Quick Launch, summoning Tracer, triggering this, and then forcing them to use something here, which is not a bad idea. just because even if they have since we do have a dragon, well, we don't have a dragon extender yet, but since we do have Crusadia power, we have the ability to protect this, making sure it resolves, and we're still going to be able to fire off and force the second Herald in this direction here, if you know you're playing against a Drytron. Now, if you don't know what you're playing against, the best bet is as soon as you summon the Magius is to trigger the Paralytic Seed and the summon here. Paralytic Seed chain 2, Magius chain 1. We're going to go ahead and grab ourselves the Draco off of the Magius and the Paralytic Seed. Now, again, guys, any good player is probably going to try and stop this right here because they know that if Exceed resolves, they're not going to be able to use their hand traps any further because you're just going to be able to make Rafflesia. And in this scenario here, if you guys notice, we only opened one Crusadia name. So in theory, since we do have Quick Launch, we can, very much can, make Rafflesia and then just Quick Launch out a Dragon, probably Magna Rocket, use Magna and Magius to make Spatha, Draco, do the full 9 yards of the Crusadia combo. But assuming that you did not open Quick Launch and you want to hold the Quick Launch, you do not have to use these two to make Rafflesia. You can just go ahead and go immediately into Spatha with these two or these two and combo off that way. But you are being susceptible to hand traps in that way. And assuming that your opponent does have hand traps, we are kind of, our hand was just, or believe it or not, this hand was just jacked against hand traps. So we're going to play assuming that our opponent does have hand traps, like I said previously. I'm just showcasing you guys like how, you know, like full gas, no break sort of scenarios you can go. You're going to make Rafflesia right there. We're going to go ahead and use Quick Launch to bring out the Magna Rocket. And the reason you want to bring out Magna is because you, well, no, let's go ahead and bring out Tracer. Because if you happen to hard draw into the Guard Dragon, you can, that's a 1-card Savage. So this will go up to 2 counters. This goes out here. These two then become Spatha, the Lord of the Wind, or the Lady of the Wind, excuse me. This right here will go up to 4. We will then go ahead and use this to add water, to add a Gamma Seal, excuse me. And another thing to note is if you are playing against someone who's familiar with this deck, you will notice that they will actually stop this. That is something I've noticed. When someone knows what this deck does, they will wholeheartedly try to stop the Waterfront Search because they know that once the turtle touches down, it's game over. So we'll go ahead and go here. Special the Draco. Draco's effect. We'll go ahead and grab ourselves back the Arborea. We'll then link here into LP effect to move. And here we go, guys. If they happen to have impermanence or anything like that in the imperm here, we are still okay because we can special summon the Arborea and make a 3-material Skull Dread and still get the Kaiju out of her hand, and we're still sitting better than most other decks that get stopped in the critical point. But LP's effect is going to resolve and give us, because since we happen to have Rafflesia, we can stop any hand trap that they happen to have. Something to note, though, that makes Drytron such a pain in the butt, and I know this is going to be like probably a lot of complaining about them, is if they happen to pitch Herald from the hand, right, to negate, and they send Eva, you can negate the Herald, but Eva's still going to trigger, getting them another Herald. So do keep that in mind, and do keep that in your thoughts. Sometimes, depending on your hand or what you had, it's sometimes good to use Rafflesia to not negate the Herald, but to negate the Eva, because Gravedigger's Trap Hole can wholeheartedly stop anything that activates in the hand, field, or banish, or hand, graveyard, or banish. We're just going to do a really good shuffle here to hopefully make our draws be good. Now, you see, this is kind of crazy. Like this, I never opened like this at the CLS. I was able to get the Skull Dread playing through hand traps very easy, but once I got the Skull Dread, it just nothing came from Skull Dread. So let's just see if that continues. And I never saw Waterfront either. And I was like I said, that the way that the deck is engineered is that if you don't happen to get to Waterfront, you have such powerful extenders such as Exceed, Quick Launch, to be able to dig into something else other than a Waterfront and Gamma Seal Turbo. But you know, like there's still probability and chances that you should see it, but I never did. But it is what it is. We're gonna go ahead and draw our 4 cards, and whoa, right here. So this actually is really good. Like this is, we couldn't ask for a better hand. We're gonna go ahead and put back these 3 here. So when you're playing this deck, you'll realize there's like 4 or 3 stages, excuse me, that you're trying to accomplish. Stage 1 is trying to get a dragon so that you can go into LP using the Magius. That's stage 1. Once you get past stage 1, you're trying to make your LP resolve. That's stage 2. Stage 3 is Skull Dread hitting the field. Once Skull Dread hits the field, there's like multiple stages that are on the same level. But we'll go ahead and go stage 1, 2, 3. Stage 3 is drawing 4 cards and hopefully having 2 different Crusadia names in your name so you can make Equimax. The other stage is being able to successfully resolve the special summon effect of Skull Dread to get out the Gamma Seal. If you don't happen to have Gameciel, that stage is not necessary. But right here, we drew So Busted because we already have a Boria. We just needed one Crusadia name, which we happen to only have used 2 Crusadia's names, one a Crusadia name, excuse me, Draco. So our probability of getting another one was extremely high, and another superior extender, which is going to allow us to finish off our board with your choice of rank or level 8 Synchro. But right now we've already succeeded. We'll go ahead and use Skuldred's effect, fire it off to go ahead and touch down the Gameciel here. And then right now, we'll go ahead and special Leonis, and the Skuldred become your Regulex. And Regulex is just part of the comp. So now once we've got past this point, we're still just trying to finish off with an Echo Max with a loaded negate, which is going to be the old faithful Crawler is what we're going to grab off Regulex. All this should look very familiar for all you guys who are watching, because this is like the cookie cutter combo. It's kind of like, you know, nothing's ever for sure. It's up to your luck of the draw. We make Echo Max, and then right here we can finish off with activating World Legacy Guard Dragon to bring out the Tracer. Tracer's effect to destroy Guard Dragon, summoning from the deck our other copy of, or other Guard Dragon, or not our other Guard Dragon, our other Rocket monster, which is just a dragon, Magna Rocket, and then immediately we can just follow this up with a Synchro Summon of your choice, whether it be Savage. I have gone back to kind of testing out True Draco Berserker, because when a Drytron activates in the hand, very similar to back in the day where we used to yeet the Altergeist Multi-Faker out of the hand, we're doing that now. That's what I'm testing him in, but it could be your choice of whatever rank or level 8 you want. Savage, Berserker, Stardust is 7, I think. Whatever, your just choice of level 8. We can set the Crawler, and there you go. Immediately, guys, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forms of interruption. And once you resolve the Crawler, you're going to be able to successfully get another form. So we have technically 6 forms of interruption, so we can almost interact with our opponent's entire hand, which is crazy. But something I do want to let everyone know, we are just very susceptible to Forbidden Droplets and Dark Ruler no more. Since we didn't have that extra extender, and we kind of got greedy here with the Tinny monster, we kind of lost that. However, if you truly fear the Forbidden Droplets or Dark Ruler, instead of reborning back the Draco Berserker, you just reborn back the Draco, and this right here stays, and this guy goes back. And then in that scenario, you do still have the ability to be able to, during the standby phase, if they decide to fire off Forbidden Droplets, you can chain this as long as they didn't pitch a trap, excuse me, pitch a crap. That's what traps are, they're crap. As long as they don't pitch a trap, you can use Echo Max, chaining to the Crawler, because Crawler is chain link 2. This is where, pay attention guys, to all my people who are not familiar. Forbidden Droplets and Dark Ruler no more say you cannot respond to the activation of those cards with monster effects. We are responding to those cards, Forbidden Droplets and Dark Ruler no more, with a trap card. Echo Max then has the ability to chain to the Crawler, so Echo Max is chain link 3, responding to the trap, tributing our Crusadia we point to, targeting a face-up card on the field, which is Dark Ruler Forbidden Droplets, successfully negating it. It's very much just like Night Beam back in the day, ruled the exact same way, because Echo Max does not have to respond directly, it just targets a face-up card on the field and negate it. So that's where, if you guys are truly fearful of those 2 cards, you can do this kind of setup, which will kind of weaken the number of negates you get, because the negate you would get off of the Echo Max tributing itself and targeting like a face-up card your opponent controls can sometimes give you 2 more counters for the Gameciel. But rather, you do this route and then have negates versus just getting completely blown out by a Forbidden Droplets or a Dark Ruler no more. So do keep that in mind, that as another scenario you guys can play. We'll go ahead and do one more test hand, and like I said, we'll always play like assuming they have a hand trap and stuff like that, and yeah, so let's just go ahead and jump into it. Alright guys, we're going to do another cut. Here we go, and then we're just going to draw our 5 cards, and hopefully it's playable. And this, guys, I'm going to call it. We've gone all these past 2 test hands and not seen the Crawler. Crawler's going to be the top card. Ready? Boom. Ha, I'm wrong, thank goodness. But don't. So, Arborea, Waterfront, Quick Launch, Succession, and Impermanence. So here we go. We practically have full combo, because all you have to do to play this deck is practically open any Crusadia plus an extender. And the beautiful thing about Crusadia is every Crusadia is an extender and a starter, and World Legacy Succession allows us to practically do that as well. Impermanence is kind of good to have in this hand, because if we do get hand trapped, we do have an Imperm we can sit on. And if we were going second, you never got, unless you open multiple Perms, guys, never Perm Drytron, never do it, because it's crazy. Wait for them to set up their Herald, because if they have Herald, you're going to lose regardless. But if they just set up Vanity Ruler and pass, Perm the Ruler, combo off, play the game. So anyway, guys, this is our opening hand. We're going to go ahead and activate the waterfront here because we want to go ahead and start accumulating those Gamma counters. I am actually quite tilted here because I have seen waterfront every test hand, but when it comes to the tournament, waterfront was nowhere to be seen. Even these superior extenders, which of course is quick launch, succession, and like guard dragon and stuff like we saw, they were nowhere to be found. So it's like, oh, my deck's showing up 2 weeks after the event. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Crusade stops for no one. Let's go ahead and normal summon Arborea, the queen. If you don't, yeah, there you guys go. Be available soon for you guys. Along with, I have an awesome shirt being made, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. If you guys want to get a discount, just think about it. If you guys want to get a discount, become a member today. You know what I'm saying? Link off here into Magius. That'll give us 1 counter. Then we go and fire off Succession. And we go right here. Now, this is where we do have the ability. If the opponent has any sort of interruption on the Magius effect will trigger, right? Magius triggers, and then they either can herald us, they can do whatever they want. But since Arborea is now up here, we can now banish the Arborea from the field to protect, but we're still SOL if they happen to have any form of negation that removes. Now, if they happen to have Ogre, we're not as SOL because the Magius will still stay. But do keep that in mind. That is just kind of like the way that we had to play through this. The only other option that I see that we could have done here is that we could have fired off Quick Launch, and Quick Launch could have brought out like a Rocket or the Tracer Dragon, trigger the Magius to get the Draco. If they happen to have an answer that way, we're able to banish this and protect and still get the Draco, which I do believe is the correct play now that I'm seeing it. It's not the most optimal. It's not the most powerful play because we have to waste the superior extender so early on. But something to very much remember is just how good Quick Launch is. And this is also, again, if we go here, right, we Quick Launch, activate the effect here, and they Ash it, they Perm it, they do something. That's okay because since we have Succession, we can just bring back the Tracer. So now that I see that, this is definitely the correct way to play this hand. We're going to get 2 counters now. Magius's effect will activate, grabbing us a Draco. You then turn these 2 here into Spatha, the Lady of the Air. I don't know why I'm calling her that, but she's a beautiful card. Come on, Konami, give us hollows. We just need 2 more hollows, guys. Come on. So again, guys, if they happen to Ash this, the Skin Draco, we do have Succession that we can bring back this. This becomes LP, and we still can combo off. But we are playing like they didn't do that, but we're discussing if they did. We'll go ahead and use Waterfront to grab us the legendary, the Turtle. So guys, if you guys made it this far in the video, comment down below, are you guys Kong or Zilla in the new upcoming Godzilla vs. King Kong movie? Me and my friend Caleb, we've been bouncing back and forth. Every day I wake up, he goes, Kong's gonna smash your boy. Makes me very upset. The only thing Kong has going for him is plot armor. Very biased in this decision. But you guys comment down below and let me know who you think's gonna win Kong versus Godzilla. So anyway, we do this. We're going to go ahead and special summon the Draco's effect to add us back to the Arborea. And then we just do the typical Guard Dragon play. Now, if they happen to have held any hand trap for the LP, again, we do have the Succession that can easily bring back one of our 2 choices, and we can make a weak Skull Dread. But a weak Skull Dread is not as weak as you think, just simply because a weak Skull Dread can poop out a turtle. And all we need to win is a turtle. That's all we need, guys, is just the turtle. We'll go ahead and summon from the deck the Red Eyes Darkness Metal. We're still not doing too bad. Darkness Metal's effect to summon the Draco, and then now we link 4. So now this is another interesting thing. We've already accomplished stages 1, 2, and I think we're moving on to stage 3, which is our Skull Dread touching down. Now, if our Skull Dread is hit with an end perm, which has happened, our turn very well kind of does end. We're going to be able to dig up for, well, I'm not going to say it ends. We do have the ability to bring back this to pop this. We can then make a Savage, which is better than nothing, because currently, right now, the only thing we can do is make an Equimax and pass with the Perm, so that might be the better option to do, is go Equimax, pass with the Perm. But Skull Dread effect will resolve, giving us 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to say we grab the Exceed. Anyone going to debate with me? Let's even put back the Perm here, because we really don't need it, and grab ourselves the Maximus. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and put back these 3. God, these draws were good. Where were these when I was getting my cheeks clapped? So right now, this is our hand. Immediately, Skull Dread. Just going to fire off here, making the turtle touchdown, because that's the most important thing when you have access to the turtle, is get that sucker out of your hand as quickly as possible. I actually wish we had the ability to get this out of our hand through like a discard effect, and then we could succession it back if they happen to answer the Skull Dread. We do lack that in versatility, but I mean, that's not too bad. I say we just fire off Maximus. See, there's tons. We could put up a Savage if we really wanted to, because we could just succession back the Tracer, make Savage, use this and this to go up there, and then we just end on like an extra Exceed kind of sitting out there. But I mean, it's either we do that or we put out a Dweller. Let's just do the Dweller route. And we hold, because sometimes, like, if you have the resources to hold, it's good to hold. Don't, like, blow your load all at once, because then you're subjected to blowout cards. And we'll be able to actually use this succession to be able to protect ourselves from those blowout cards, actually. So, chain 2, chain 1. We're going to go ahead and grab ourselves the Crusadia Crawler, depending which one we see first. Crawler, and then Paralytic Seed. We then will go ahead and go here, guys, and we're just going to make ourselves Dweller. Excuse me 1 second as I think about things. So you can put Dweller anywhere else, but since I'm OCD, we're just going to go ahead and do this. Make ourselves the Equimax. This will that will get you Crawler, excuse me. Then trigger this, summon this, and then put this here. I'm just OCD about how I build my boards, guys. I'm sorry. It's just how I am. Then you can fire off the Succession, bringing back. I would bring back the Maximus. Get it out of the graveyard so it doesn't get crowed, and then you can set the Crawler here. So now you have the ability to play through Dark Ruler no more, the ability to stop Forbidden Droplets as long as they do not send a trap card, and you have a Dweller during the standby phase, which is going to shut off the graveyard, and then Gamma-Sil, which is practically game on its own. So yeah, guys, I hope this was a good explanation to kind of walk you guys through how to play out certain hands. I do kind of apologize. I feel kind of bad that I saw Waterfront every hand. I know sometimes it's not going to be like that, and I can guarantee you it's not going to be like that because I went an entire tournament and didn't see it once. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. This is like at the maximum capacity what the deck is supposed to do. And I think I went pretty good in detail about explaining how to play through hand traps, how to play around them, what happens if you do get stuck with one. So remember, guys, this was Charles from Team COG. Hit that join button if you haven't already. Become a member, join our party, join our Crusaders. And yeah, not much more can be said. This is Charles from Team COG, signing out.